I recently came across a comment on YouTube from someone saying that the Odin Lite is mainly a device that performs well in retro games from PS1 and under, with bad performance in any of the demanding emulators. Even though I have made an emulation video on this processor using a phone, this comment shows me that the performance of this processor is still an unknown quantity for many people. Having the word light in the model name probably doesn't do it any favors, and I don't think anyone would expect that this could trade blows with the Odin Pro if it wanted. And while it is a device that is great for PS1 and under, thankfully for those on a budget, it has a very high ceiling when it comes to emulation. How's it going, everyone? It is finally time for the long-awaited Odin Lite emulation video. This video is the culmination of over a week's worth of testing, filming, and building the device that you're about to watch from scratch. There are almost 200 games featured in this video, with a huge percentage coming from subscriber suggestions. If you want to have a say in what I cover on this channel, or to support work like this, a sub would be massively appreciated. As I explained in the intro, the D900 is still an unknown quantity for many people, which is why I went overkill on this one. While you are watching this video, I want you to keep in the back of your mind that for many people that are going to be receiving this in the next month or so, this was a $150 to $170-ish device, and it is ridiculous how much value this thing is for that money. We are going to skip over some of the retro systems that were in the intro because they all run flawlessly. This includes things like NES, GB, GBC, Genesis, and GBA. Even for retro systems like SNES, we have the power to run very demanding cores like BSNES if we want. We also have the ability to use the HD Beta core, which has nice quality of life improvements for older games. This includes widescreen patches and upscaled Mode 7 graphics. For N64, we're using the Mupen 64 Plus GLES 3-core with the wide adjusted setting and the rendering resolution set to 720p.
Flippy, get back here!
Moving on, here is Sega Saturn using the Yaba Sanshiro core and RetroArch with the rendering resolution set to 1080p. In terms of emulation demand, this probably could have come earlier in the video, but here we have DS Performance with the Drastic emulator.
Crash as hell.
Now let's go to something that's a bit more demanding. Here is PS1 Performance with the DuckStation emulator. With the exception of this first game, all of these titles were run at 5x native resolution with widescreen hacks to fill out the screen. We are going to go back over to RetroArch to test Dreamcast performance with the Flycast core. We have the rendering resolution set to 1440p, and we are using widescreen hacks to fill out the screen.
This victory strengthens the soul.
Nice, yeah. Nice.
A couple, Peter, but that was a big hit there. Tackled by Armstead.
Yeah.
With the exception of PS2, this section is one of the biggest in this showcase. Here is PSP performance with the PP-SSPP emulator. For almost all of these games, we have the rendering resolution set to 4x native, and this processor has no issues running these games.
Dodge this.
Sizing up his man. Takes the three.
One hand. He broke the D down to the ground with that move.
Why not try some shooting practice? Select a target and squeeze off a round or two. Press the square and circle buttons while holding the right button to switch weapons.
You shoot a proton stream of highly charged particles at someone, they get all so happy. We didn't even burn her. I mean, there was redness. There was some redness.
I have to say that this section was a big surprise to me after testing most of these games in my Odin Pro emulation video. This is 3DS performance using the Citra MMJ emulator. We have some shader compilation lag the first time an effect goes out, but we can even increase the rendering resolution to 3 or 4x depending on the game. Some of these games have some graphical issues that you will have to contend with, but all things told, this is decent.
Yeah, hey, ha! Yeah, hey, ja! Freeze! Hey, ha, ja! Hey, yeah! Hey, yeah, fine! Yeah!
We are in the final stretch now with the 4 most demanding systems that this device can emulate, and our first one is GameCube using the Dolphin emulator. We are using widescreen hacks for this, and the rendering resolution is set to 1080p. I am also going to take the time now to talk about the CPU settings that I've been using in this video. For all the footage that you just watched, and all that still remains in this video, I have manually changed the CPU and GPU clocks to their maximum levels and just kept them there. This is something that you can also do on the Odin Pro, but the difference is that this guy has been doing it with the fan set to the quiet mode, all while keeping the CPU temps in the 40s to 50s. I did this manual change because the default governor on this device leaves some performance on the table, and I want to make sure I'm getting everything that I can out of it. AYN is probably going to have to create a high performance mode that does this for you, because it is a nice setting to have. Our second big system is Nintendo Wii with the same Dolphin emulator. This is the biggest section in this video, and it was almost twice the size that it currently is. For PS2, we are using the Ether SX2 emulator, and there are over 60 games in this section, with a bunch that came from subscriber suggestions. I want to explain the process that I used to record this section because it's a bit different than what I did in my Odin Pro video. For all of these games, I started out with a base rendering resolution of 3x for 1080p without widescreen hacks. If the game could not run at this setting, I bumped the resolution down to 2x and then again to 1x if that couldn't run. If the game still didn't run, I started messing around with the underclock settings and increased the rendering resolution when possible. As you will see, this device is very good for PS2 emulation, but I did include games that also did not run well, so you'll have a more complete picture.
phoenix feather. 11 inches. Nice and supple. What are those things?
Dog bugs!
Orchidia!
Wow!
Hands
ンプしてもう一度空中でジャンプだよ。クリムゾンガードだ。いっちゃう。やって。
Grenade into each container. If you run out of grenades, there are more on the table. You can throw grenades over long distances, or you can toss them out in front of you.
She'll be a junior this spring, just like you. Hey!
This here's my daughter.
And our final system for this showcase is Nintendo Switch. Unfortunately for us, the latest builds of the Skyline emulator aren't working too well on Mali GPUs, so we are not able to see everything that should be possible with this CPU and GPU combination. If we switch to the other emulator, We get better performance, but a lot of the games that probably would run crash because we only have 4 GB of RAM on the board that I'm filming with. When I get the chance, I need to check if this is still the case when we have more RAM. Anyway, that's it for this massive showcase of the Odin Lite. As I already said, this was a ton of work to put together, as I'm sure you can imagine, but I hope that this helps some of you that have been looking at grabbing one of these for yourself. I still plan on doing a full review of this model, but that is probably going to have to wait until the retail PCBs are done. I want to say thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Now go out and enjoy the rest of your day. Taki out.